TUFF SHIFT. Hello, world, and welcome to another episode of TUFF SHIFT, the podcast where we unpack all that goes into surviving the job and living the dream. I am your host, Sean Patrick, and I got that right. All right, we know I have a hard time with the opening that I say every show, but literally as I started, I was like, I didn't check behind me. And again, that happens almost every show. And I tell you, I have nothing incriminating in my house. No, I don't have anything incriminating in my house that I would have to fear what's behind me. But still, yeah, no, I got my AAA card there, but it's blurred out. You want free gas? Anyways, welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is being recorded on a Saturday morning in between shifts. I worked yesterday. Interesting, we'll unpack that. And I'm working tonight and starting my new lifestyle. I am off on Sundays. I've gotten back to being off on Sundays, which is kind of interesting because I only have like 2 weeks left at this job. I know, it's happening. And to finally get to that place where I've requested my dream schedule, because they're afraid to lose me and they're gonna lose me, but they don't need to know that until they do lose me. And so I just kind of like, these are the days I want. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going up to the Bay Area next week for a quick little trip. And I put those dates in. And, you know, especially with knowing that I have my 2 weeks in my back pocket, like if they try to deny it, I just say peace. And that's not normally how I am, right? That's not normally how I am. But we've talked about loyalty on here. And I've said this on this podcast. I've said this to my coworkers at side workstations. I've said this to people over coffee and margaritas. You offer these people the same amount of grace that they would offer you in the situation. Are they going to give you 2 weeks? Now, you should want to give 2 weeks. You should want to have the upper hand and know that you have done everything right and that your nose is clean and everything. They got nothing on you. And so when they come back, be like, well, I did my part. I was respectful. But when shit hits the fan, you give these people the same amount of grace that they would give you if the tables were turned and they had to get rid of you, or they were upset with you, or they're looking for things to write you up. You give them the same amount of grace. We've talked about that as far as payroll. When checks bounce, when checks go on hold, when tips are missing, and that, we have so much to unpack. Let's start here. So there's drama in the South Bay. There is drama in the South Bay, which now I'm kind of getting closer to telling you where I worked at because I'm almost out. And I don't like people to know where I work at because I'm afraid you're going to come say hi. I don't like people visiting me at work, but that doesn't matter now. Unless it's like my last shift. I'm like, come in, free shots for everyone. Anyways, drama in the South Bay. We have this regular who I thought was just weird. I thought, he's just quiet, weird, moody, not sociable. And he's like a budding restaurateur. He comes in, he gets his Lebanese wine, and we have to put it in the little carafe. He doesn't want us to pour it for him. I know him. I didn't realize all this time he's not been tipping us. I thought he's a restaurateur. Everyone seems to know him. Everyone seems to like him. But like, I'm busy in service bar, so I don't usually close out checks. I had no idea this guy was an asshole. I mean, I knew he was an asshole, but I didn't know he was that kind of an asshole. Like, so much so to where recently he brought in a date. And I rolled out, they sat like right in front of the service bar. And like, you know what? I'm going to make this guy look impressive. I'm going to be like, you want your Chateau Moussard? You want da-da-da-da-da-da? And I'm going to act like we're buddy-buddy so he looks good in front of his woman. Well, isn't that going to be nice? And I don't like to extend things when they're demanded of me. But if it's my idea and coming from my heart, like, I want to go the extra mile for this person because they deserve it. They're in the business. They're da-da-da. I should have known better. And like what I offer people as far as generosity, like what I offer people in the industry who are at the same level as I am, I should be a little more sparing when it comes to restaurant owners. Sorry about it. And hashtag not all restaurant owners, but a majority, with very few exceptions. And there are exceptions. The owners of Cook Shop, they didn't do everything right, but they did enough right to where I'm like, I respect the fuck out of those people. We'll unpack that later. This guy, I don't know why my ADHD medicine's not working. I can feel it, but it's not working. Anyway, so this guy is an asshole that I come to find out. And my manager, the South Bay in Southern California is an interesting place. It's a small bubble and everybody knows everybody's business. My coworker who grew up in the South Bay, who's been bartending at dive bars in the area. He knows everybody. Everybody knows him. He's worked with this person. He dated that person's daughter. It is like a small town USA in LA. And so everyone knows each other's business. So my manager goes to get his haircut and his beard trimmed, and like beauty shop like regulations, like gossip is flying. And so apparently this most recent Valentine's Day, in this man's restaurant, which recently opened and like really cool, gonna check it out, all these things, never got to it because what the fuck am I gonna go to the South Bay for, right? Like it's like, if I, as New York, like what the fuck am I gonna go to Brooklyn for, right? Except if it's to see friends who I love and adore, and I love Brooklyn. But what am I going to go there? So I just assume this guy's a nice guy, assume he's whatever. Well, turns out on Valentine's Day, there was some drama in his restaurant. This man walked into the middle of this restaurant, just walked into the middle of the floor and was like, I want to speak to so-and-so. I actually forgot his name. I know his drink, but I forgot his name. I want to speak to so-and-so. And the whole restaurant stops. This big angry man walking in asking for the owner. And he's there on behalf of his girlfriend who is employed by this restaurant and has not received about $3,000 worth of wages. And he's standing in the middle of the restaurant like, where's my girlfriend's money? Where's my money? Da, 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 where's my girlfriend's money? And like demanding that the owner show his face. And one of the patrons, I guess, who's buddy and chummy with the owner, is like it's one of those like action-packed movies where it's like, here's my chance to shine. And he gets like a butter knife. I think it was a butter knife. I hope it wasn't a steak knife. That would be really inappropriate. I mean, nothing is appropriate, but like he gets a steak knife and like hides it behind his back. Like, what is this? True Lies? Are you Arnold Schwarzenegger? Like, what the fuck? Who do you think you are? Like, is this Mission Impossible? You're Tom Cruise and whoosh, like, you're just going to save the fucking day? Like, and just sneak attack? So then the owner comes out and sees the guy with the knife behind his back and punches the guy who's trying to defend him. And then the police call and the owner gets arrested. And my manager is sharing all this information. And I'm like, what the actual fuck? And like, my manager has drank the Kool-Aid of this place. And so I stop him and I'm like, just so you know, this story is wild, but I'm on the boyfriend's side. I want to know where this woman's money is. $3,000 fucking dollars. And my manager's like, oh no, me too. And I was like, okay, good. Because I know that's your friend. And he's like, that's not my friend. I'm like, well, he's a friend of the restaurant. And like, he shows up at our restaurant. And that's where my manager told me, he's like, but we don't like him, but we can't turn people away. We're guest first. And he's like, I thought you guys hated him. I'm like, why would I hate him? He's just like not sociable. And he's like, well, he doesn't tip you guys. I was like, he doesn't fucking tip us? Like, what the actual fuck? Like, anytime I assume, like when I see a zero in the tip, I just assume it's like part of the pile of cash. I assume somebody paid in cash. And like, I wouldn't be surprised if he paid in cash. He's a restaurant owner. And like most people in the industry like to tip in cash. So it never dawned on me, like, what a fucking asshole. So then he gets arrested from this. Oh, and this is the best part. This is the whole point of me telling the fucking story. Oh, side adventures. So everybody in the South Bay is like, what? Like, now that they're knowing. And this is, I will say, I got to give it. South Bay people are weird. You never know. You don't know all their affiliations. And that's just part of being in the South Bay, but they're nice to your face. And they actually, like, they do take care of their own. And they are very, almost like the Upper West Side in certain neighborhoods in New York, where they are really protective of their restaurants and their spots and their people. And that's something I actually really loved about when I worked in the Upper West Side. And like, as awful as COVID was, like the diehard Upper West Siders, not the ones who made it like aren't we so great for bringing you tips and da 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 da. Like the actual Upper West Siders, like, we're concerned about you guys and we want to make sure you're okay, even though that means we have to come to work without health insurance, but they take care of their people. So in the South Bay, it's the same type of mentality. And like, oh no, these people, like, restaurants come and go, but the staff pretty much moves from restaurant to restaurant. These are our people, even if they don't live in the South Bay. So South Bay residents flooded this person's Google page and whatever, and just left scathing 1-star reviews. And then this guy doubles down and is like responding, like instead of just like paying your fucking staff, just pay your staff. He's like doubling down on his bullshit and being like, if you know me, you know me. You have my phone number. You can call me and we can talk about what's true. And is like responding like that to all of the 1-stars. Like, sir, do you think that that's going to help your case? Like, in what area has anyone gone on social media, gone on Facebook, gone on whatever, and made a video about like, if you know, and then not produce receipts to be like, if this is a lie and you can easily prove it's a lie, why aren't you proving it a lie? Why are you just talking hypothetically about like, you know me, you know this is not how I do? Like, well, then show me your payroll records. Show me a bookkeeper, your bank statement to show that payroll was processed and went through without a hitch. That no funds were retreated by the payroll company because you didn't have enough to cover. Because we've talked about that too. We've talked about that too on here. And if you want to talk more about payroll and how it works and why your check's going on hold and what that all means when direct deposit mysteriously disappears from a restaurant, call me, baby. Call me. I will lay it out for you for what that means. So why can't this guy produce that? So it's like he's doubling down. It's a brand new restaurant. He like crashed his service on Valentine's Day, which is like second to Mother's Day, the worst time to work in a restaurant. And he's doubling down. It's like, you're not gonna survive, and you live here, and you have to show your face. Girl, the drama. So we're talking about this and we are just talking mad shit. And it's really nice when like the walls come down around management, because also somebody higher up in the company that I work for was there, and she's just like, my coworker described it yesterday. She's a goddamn Girl Scout. I'm like, she is a fucking Girl Scout. Like, she sends out 1,000 messages a day. I was like, hey team, blah blah blah, and like just awful pun after pun. And you know me and my dad jokes, and my awful puns, I love it. But it's like, if she sends one more fucking message with like a pun about the holidays or a pun about Valentine's or a pun, hey guys, really excited to team. Have you ever like, I can't fucking stand her. But she let that Girl Scout corporate restaurant wall down, and we were talking some real shit. And so I'm like, all right, you guys are finally ready to hear my truths and truths that I talk about on here. And so I share with them, almost let out the fact that I have a podcast talking shit about this industry. Almost let out that this is why I talk about this in my podcast. But I was like, I talk about this on my friends all the time. The Holy Trinity, my Holy Trinity of working in restaurants. And you've heard it here before if you've not skipped through this part of the show. There are 3 things you need to do. And that is acknowledge your staff with a hello, a thank you, and a goodbye. Acknowledge your staff. That's 1. 2, you need to feed your staff. And I let that through on them. I was like, you need to feed your staff every day. It is in the DNA of this industry. It is in the culture from the very beginning of the hospitality industry. Family meal, you watch The Bear. The family meal is important. You need to take care of your own. And then I said, and you need to pay your staff on time. 3 simple things. Apparently I went too far because they clammed up and they knew I was talking shit about them, about how they don't feed us. Like, we just won an award. We just won an award for the South Bay. And we got this beautiful message about, we won this award and we couldn't do without you. And we just wanted to express our gratitude, and all these beautiful things about how much we contributed to this place getting this award and this acknowledgement for being one of the best restaurants in the South Bay and being brand new. And then I'm like, so what you going to do? Like, do we get a pizza party? Do we get like a, popcorn at an AMC? Nothing. They're like, and we just want to take the chance to say thank you. Baby, thank you for saying thank you, but like, maybe some free popcorn or a pizza. I don't even eat gluten. I can't have gluten, but like, I'll take a pizza party. Like, everybody knows, like, feeding your staff, it's like in any industry, offices, corporate, whatever, like, when there's cake in the break room, people fucking run. People fucking run for it. So like, I don't know what the point of all that was, but I just had to get it off my chest. That's not even part of my opener, but like just wild shit going on. And it's just, I can't wait to be out of this industry. I can't wait to not have to deal with this nonsense anymore. And speaking of nonsense, I've had enough. Let's get to today's guest, who I just absolutely love and adore and have loved and adored for a very long time. I'm 105 years old, and I have known her since I was 8. When what would have been my very first musical I ever did, but I got scared on the way to the audition and had a little gay breakdown at 8 years old. And my mom went to the audition without me. She got into the show, and so did today's guest. And that's where we met. And then later on, we did Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat together. Oh no, we did Christmas Carol. I don't even know where it starts. I don't even know where it starts. And I hope it never finishes. She's been a friend for such a long time, and I have seen her grow as an artist and a human being. She is an amazing community maker. And on this show, we really like to point out those community makers because it's how we do it. It's how we get through service in restaurants. It's how we get through this artistic lifestyle that we have just caught. Like, we are infected with this artist's heart and soul and spirit. And she's a community maker. She provides chances for people. She creates opportunities for herself and for others. And she's always finding ways to reinvent herself and ways to create and not wait for people to give her the option. She is an international headliner. She's performed in New York, San Francisco, London, Puerto Vallarta. I'm sure a lot more fucking places. She is amazing. An actor, musician, theater educator, singer, songwriter, everything from musical theater to opera, to EDM, singing in the subways, making it happen. They are just phenomenal. Always going back to education, always finding ways to improve their artistry. Performed at Lincoln Center. Recently, of all the albums they've produced and released, Chain of Love, a Broadway album. And as I was putting this episode together and I was writing these things out, I got that song stuck in my head. And I'm just, if love is a chain of love, which is something that today's guest does to me a lot. Just gets songs stuck in my head because she's got a beautiful voice and a beautiful talent and really just speaks to your soul. And so many amazing things coming up. A new single coming out. I'm going to just stop talking and bring on my friend and amazing human being, Carly Ozard. Woo woo!
Yay! I'm so happy to be here. And there's my dog.
Hey Gaia.
He will co-star.
It sounds good. We love pets on this podcast. They love to make their presence known.
Oh yeah, he will, whether you want it or not. So,
Howie, thank you for listening to my rambling, which was nothing to do with what I wanted to talk about. So thank you for listening.
I was laughing.
Drama.
I wish you were here. I really hope you can't hear me laughing. I hope my cackling isn't getting on. I was like looking for the making sure it was mute, because I was like, he punched him. What?
He punched him, and the knife, like John McClane. Like, what the fuck? This is Die Hard?
That's where they need to provide the free popcorn you're talking about.
I mean, right?
As soon as that happens, I need to be like, all right.
Bring it in. Roll that beautiful bean footage. Amazing. Now, I know I missed a lot of things in your introduction, but I just got so excited about all the things. I mean, we've done backup for Imagine Dragons and people like Shoshana Bean, but you have all
Yes, we have.
Yes. And you have all kinds of crazy accolades and amazing accomplishments. And like, to sing your praises is a joy, especially I love singing people's praises. But especially for you.
Me too. I do too. You know that. We have that in common.
I know you do. And it's just one of those things where it's like, I think it's extra special because I've witnessed so much, the good, the bad, and the ugly along the way in the journey to get this shit together. And even so much so that, like, when you did, Doña Carly. What was the Rudagore?
Doña Hannah, Rudigore. Yeah, Dame Hannah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy, we bought a virtual ticket, and we just, like, it was a lazy Sunday here in Inglewood, and Jeremy was just so moved by your voice. It was it's such an amazing instrument, and you really do reach out to so many people. And it leaves, I mean, if you've followed Carly on social media, you've seen the amount of tags from people just like in the subway from all over the world who just are driven to share your talent with their circles. Like, that's not the first question of the show, but how the fuck does that feel?
Okay, so working in the subway, I tell people if they want, if they're musicians of any kind, that it's something they should try one time in their life. If they don't want to pursue the whole thing, like do the audition and get the banner, that's one thing. But if you've got a big like central hub where you live, where like there's a big station and it's allowed, just go there and set up and see what happens. Be prepared that there's going to be all walks of life. But yeah, so a couple of my subway triumphs, they've all been fantastic, and some have been so random. So one of them, obviously I went viral. Remember last year? I know you saw that. Like,
yes,
I had this incredible group of younger than us people coming in on the Long Island Railroad. I know. And they were very moved by my song choice. I was singing This Is Me from Greatest Showman, and also known as the Wegovy song, as so many of the comments pointed out. And anyway, this beautiful Black model took footage of me, and she already had a lot of followers because you should see her. She's very beautiful. And she posted me, and I went viral. And then there's another, like, it's not Humans of New York. That's a different one. It's something else where it's like Secrets of NY or something.
Okay, yeah.
They took it and they reposted. And so that got me another like 300,000 views. And so it was really crazy because I was just singing Greatest Showman, like,
Right.
And so it was really cool because it reached all the way to like my friend in Michigan saw it, and my friends out in the Bay Area saw it. And so I had all of these messages on my phone like, did you see? You're blowing up. And I'm like, yeah, I just can't believe it's reaching so far. Like, that's amazing. So that was really cool. Another thing, I mean, I always tell this story that one of the original Drifters found me in the train. He heard me singing Natural Woman. And he came up to me and he was staring at me. And like, sometimes I get like older people that aren't all there, and I just kind of like, hi, how are you? I never know with the energy approaching me. If there's a weird look on their face, it could be anything. Yes. And so I'm like, what's this guy gonna say? Because it was a really like stare. And I was like, okay, either hates me or he's not all there. And he goes, I can't believe you're not a gospel singer. And I was like, huh? And he like shook my hand. He's like, I'm horrible. I forgot his name. He shook my hand and he's like, I'm one of the original Drifters. And like, I looked him up. It was totally him. And I was like, oh, I love that song. And he's like, he's like, I was about to offer you a job in my Black gospel choir. And I was like, oh, he's like, I heard you all the way down the hall. I thought for sure, like, here's a voice I could use. I'm like, I'm sorry. But that's the biggest compliment in the whole world. And, to be told that I sound like a Black gospel singer is honestly one of the biggest, bestest compliments I've ever received in my whole life.
I mean, and gospel singing is like the root of everything.
The best singing in the world.
We've seen it, to where like you've seen celebrities talk about like, if you can sing gospel, you can sing anything. And our mutual friend and friend of the podcast, Nolan King, same thing, where his music education came from gospel and learning like the different chords and this and that and all the intricacies, because you do need to have every voice to sing in a gospel choir, and you need to have all kinds of styles to make it work for what's right. And so that is a high compliment. Also, I saw years ago, this is like 25-ish years ago, maybe not as much, for my parents' 25th wedding anniversary, close to 25, we went to Las Vegas, and we did a lot of stuff, it was my first time in Las Vegas, and it was so cool. And we went to, I think it was the Sahara before it closed down, and we saw a lot of things. And in this like little black box theater, because the Sahara was dated, and there was a lot nicer whatever, and we saw these different shows. But the best show we saw was in this little rundown, looked like it could have been the York Theater. No shade to the York Theater, but a little like New York black box.
Yeah.
And it was the Coasters, the Drifters, and the Platters, mostly originals, mostly original members singing.
I would have wept.
It was the best. It was because it was real. They were real voices. They were real, and they still had it. And like even to the point where one of the women from I think the Platters, no, not the Platters. Anyways, she sang All the Things You Are, which I'm just like, that's my song, and like a cappella, no microphone, and I was just like, Jesus fucking Christ!
It's your
such
song.
A great show. such a great. So I'm glad that you had that experience with him. I'm glad you also had that experience with going viral, because for me, and I'm gonna break this up into two sides of it. The joy of watching and screaming and supporting my friends from the top of my lungs, from the top of the mountaintops, I love that. Like, you share something, I will share it. But when you come to my page, not from you and not from, well, maybe sometimes people I know, but especially if it's from like, this is suggested for you, and it's no one I know, and it's someone sharing your content, that shit fucking makes my day. And also, I on a smaller scale, I know the joy of receiving that information to where, the world shut down, and I had done one of those investigation discovery shows, and I forgot that I had done a show. I love that. And I get like a DM, and it's like, are you on TV? Are you a cop? Or just yesterday, I did something back in 2019, and it was like a featured background role. It was a small thing in a film called Barrio Boy. I had such an amazing time on that set. The cast was so fucking phenomenal, and like literally opened their arms, and I was so upset because I'm like, I'm only here for one day. It's like the last day of shooting, and you would have thought, because it wasn't just me, there was like 4 of us that were barbershop customers. There were 4 of us there. You would have thought that the 4 of us had been there from day one, the way that they embraced us, the way that they still cheer us on. So I got a DM yesterday from a friend who was just watching like Tubi or free whatever, and he's like looking for gay Latino films, and Barrio Boy pops up.
Did your face pop up?
And he's just like towards the end of the movie, and he takes a picture of his screen. He's like, are you in Barrio Boy? He's like, I looked up gay Latino whatever and like indie film, and there you are. I'm like, that's right, people. Don't let the name or the face fool you. But so I know the joy, and so I can only imagine what that felt like for you. Hey there, just checking in. I hope you're enjoying this episode so far. And if you are, why not leave us a 5-star review and a comment or two wherever you're listening to this from. And don't forget to follow us on social media at TUFF SHIFT Podcast. That's TUFF Shift Podcast. Everywhere. Literally everywhere. And just a reminder, gratuity's not included, but tips are always welcome. And you can find our virtual tip jar at tuffshiftpodcast.com. That's TUFF shiftpodcast.com. All right, back to the show.
Total, just little side note. It happened earlier this year with our mutual friend, like Matt Ferretti's commercial, his Etsy commercial. It came on in real time in Connecticut, where I live, on my computer. Like I was watching like Netflix or something, and it came on, and he's at the end of that commercial more than he is at the beginning. So at first I was just like, whatever. I knew he had done an Etsy commercial, but it just wasn't computing that this was the one.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he popped up with that cockatoo on his shoulder, I started screeching in tongues like I've never, and I started just recording. I was like, I sounded like an angry French bulldog. And I just remember like, holy shit, like it's like we all 3 of us, like we've known each other for so long, and we're finally getting like little pockets of like exciting like recognition and things like that. So just we have to keep going. But yeah, what were we you asked me something. Oh, Subway. Okay. I have very religious people who find me.
Mm.
And they need to tell me that my voice is from God. And I really super appreciate that, like really do. But then they get on their knees and start praying in front of me. It's happened 4 times with 4 different people, 4 different backgrounds, 4 different ages. They all think that like they're witnessing some spiritual thing, and maybe it's LSD, I don't know. But and they get on their knees, and a couple of them refuse to leave, and that gets really awkward because other people that are just passing by like want to throw me a buck. They like throw me $1 and they look down, they look at me, and I'm usually singing, and I'm always like, lying in my bed, I hear the I'm always like looking at them like, I don't know. But yeah, there's usually like a person in like child's pose, right? It's happened multiple times. It happened this year, actually, recently, on New Year's Eve. I was like, this is either the smartest thing I'm going to do or it's the dumbest thing I'm going to do. I gave myself a shift on New Year's in New York City at Grand Central. So I was like, I'm not doing 42nd Street.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, I was like, I'm not doing 42nd Street. I might die. I might get trampled. Yeah. But I'm going to do Grand Central because it's like adjacent. And so literally I had one of those churchgoers bow down, and I had this really nice man come over, and he's like, do you do any Mama Cass? And I'm like, do I? And so I launched it into this like whole cast set. I did like 5 songs in a row just because I was really feeling it. And he was so happy and he was staying. But the whole time through all the songs, this other person's like, the whole time. And then he just kept like looking at me, looking at him, looking at me. And I'm like, there's a new world coming, and it's just around. Like, I didn't, it's like, yes, and like that is the Subway way. Like, yes,
Bow
and
down. That is like, I mean, you are a Beatle. You are like, I mean, that's a sensation that like
that one man. Yeah.
I mean, and that's all. I've heard this a lot recently, and it's like about like not selling yourself short. I've heard this from different podcasters, and it's like, you are as famous as people think you are, and it's so like when you really think about it, it's so fucking. Yeah. If you're a big deal to somebody, you're meaningful to somebody. Now, can I pay my rent on that? No, but we talk about this all the time here. Like, there are merit badges that don't go in the bank, but they fill the soul. There are things you can get done in New York City, like boom, Lincoln Center, like boom, backing up Shoshana Bean, like all these things. That's like, I can't pay the rent with this, but it's like nobody can take it. Like, if you, those stories that we always love, the stories about these long journeys where people suffer and this and that, and then they look back and it's like all these merit badges and like the power was inside you the whole time, and we revere it in retrospect. We revere it as a novel. We revere it, when it's somebody else's Lifetime or VH1 Behind the Music story. But when it's happening in real life, either to ourselves or people around us, we don't respect the fact. I feel like I always have to, like, to certain people, I feel like I have to like validate my existence and like, no, I've done some pretty cool shit. And then there are other times where it gets to me. I'm like, well, I mean, I've been mostly unsuccessful in my ventures. And my friend was like, I can't do an Australian accent. But she's like, you stop right now. I can't do an Australian accent. She's like, you have done so much that people could only dream of. And she just like literally listed things in the same way that I listed your accomplishments and being in the show. And it's like, yeah, we do need, and that's what I really lean into when I'm introducing my guests is like, you've done amazing things. You've done it. You sent me the fucking bio. I know what's not in the bio. You know that Google exists, and these things happen, but you need to hear them. I think it's different to know I've done this, I've done that. For you, you've released 5 albums?
I've released, okay, it's weird. Okay, how many? It's more like singles. I've released like 2 full, like multiple track albums, then a couple EPs, and then a couple singles. So it's and then I have a new, it's kind of a smorgasbord.
But variety. No one can take that away from you. Like, and that's a huge accomplishment that most people don't don't get to. And like, my thing is like, I have the, and I don't know how this works for you, and we can maybe unpack this later because we do need to get to the show, but this is also part of the show, is like, how do you choose? Let's fucking go down here. So like, you know, you just released Broadway Chain of Love. You have a new single coming out, and it's like, how do you prioritize not just funding, but energetically getting to a place where it's like, I did my Mario Lanza, and then as soon as it was done, I was like, I need $15,000 more. I need like, because I need to do I need to do my next project. I need to do my Sondheim show. I need to do, you know, all these different albums. I need to do an album in Spanish. I need to do all these things. Like, fuck, like it's addicting. And it's, but when you're an independent artist, like, how do you prioritize? Because I know there's been times like, well, that's it, I'm done with this. And then it's like 2 weeks later, you're like, so I have this album coming out. And it's like, that's right, baby girl. Like, how do you prioritize, like, what? And I don't want to jump ahead and give out information that I know that's not public. How do you prioritize?
Well, this is a new answer because my life started to incorporate my original work later in life. Mm-hmm. Before I was doing what I call cover work, meaning plays, musicals, operettas, things like that are things that are already out there that I didn't write, right?
Yeah.
And so once, I always tell people this, like, people who are actors and then like their responsibilities are like, you know, get the headshots, get you know, the different materials that you need, right? Once you are that and then you start doing your own stuff, it almost like triples in responsibility, right? Yeah. Because if headshots are $600, but I got to pay my DJ, like my track builder, right? Then something has to like sit on the back burner, right? So I look for loopholes, and the way I do that, here's an example. In New York, you got to get headshots like every 5 minutes. And in San Francisco, people don't get headshots for 19 years.
Still black and white.
So, still black and white. And their emphasis out there with headshots has absolutely, there's really not a reason, like there's not a priority, and it has to be this and look like this and da-da-da-da-da. So when I was on contract with the Lamplighters for 5 years, my Dirty Sugar headshots from 2018 still looked enough like me, and they were in color, and Dirty Sugar does great stuff.
Yeah.
So because I was literally employed for 5 years by this company, I didn't have to get new photos for 5 years, even though if I lived here, that would not fly. Yes. If I lived back on the East Coast, that wouldn't fly. So I released the album in the 5 years that I was otherwise employed, so that I didn't have to shell out for new materials on that side of things for half a decade.
Oh, wow.
Because I was in Lamplighters for 5 years. So they used my headshot for every single thing for 5 years. No one ever gave me, crap for it, because the industries move differently here than there. And so for me, I should have been getting headshots every year. And so that's like 5 times 5, 25. That's a lot of money. I can't do math on this. Yeah. So that was how I did that. The other, that was part of it. Right. The other part is like, I'm just going to tell people this because this is going to come from a place of privilege. If your grandparents or anyone in your family set up any bonds for you as a kid, you should check on them now if you're in your late 30s and see if they've come to the full amount that they're going to be. Because I'm just going to say, look, my grandparents had 7 grandkids. So bonds are great. I keep asking my parents, I'm like, are bonds still a thing? Because I'm looking at this for my friends' kids now. Because, I'll send them $5 on their birthday. But like, if I could get my friend's kid a $50 bond that's going to be $1,000 by the time they're 30, like I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And I just don't, whatever. So I happened to have a decent amount of bonds from my teen years that were given to me for birthdays and Christmas. And that paid for a big chunk of my Broadway album.
That's amazing.
So I'm sharing this because we got to stop with the myths that pay to play equals scam, because every single thing in music and theater and film industry is pay to play. You have to pay for your materials, and you have to pay for the promotions, and you have to pay your musicians, and you have to pay whoever is doing something that you are not doing. Okay? I didn't design my album cover. Squigs did.
And
right?
If you deserve, if we're the thing, like, I deserve a living wage, well, so does everyone else.
So do they. You're paying for a service.
Yeah. If so, your musicians deserve it. Your person postering does it. Everyone deserves a living wage. So it's like pay to play is the way to be, and it's price of admission. Literally price of admission. You want to do this,
right?
Nobody's asking us. That's my thing. I always have to remind myself, like, nobody's asking me to do any of this. Nobody's asking me to do another Christmas show. Nobody's asking me to do another cabaret.
I mean, I am, but sure.
Thank you. But like, this is what I want to do. It is fully my responsibility. And that's something that Lenny Watts and Stephen Ray Watkins said to me, like, the very first class, the very first rehearsal I had with them was like, your friends and family owe you nothing. You owe them a great show. So it's really, you gotta know, like, what you're signing up for and what you're setting yourself up for. Like, it's I definitely agree. And not shouldn't you have to prioritize also, like, the fact that, like, I also have to pay rent. I have to pay this. I have to, like, so you really do need to have a reality check of what things cost, and also creative ways to make it happen. Like, we are talking about, investments, and, you are the one that turned me on to Acorns, who's not a sponsor, but I'd be happy if they were. And
my God, me too.
Taking a piece of even just your subway singing and being like, I can take from this. And it's literally, think of yourself like a business, because this is how every other business works. People's paychecks get divided up into these different ways. So if you're making money as a performer, if you're bringing in any sort of money, don't just treat it as not your job. So you are your own boss. And so take that money and put a little bit in Acorns, put a little bit in CalSavers, put a little bit in whatever it is. Like, how did that come to, we need to get to this episode. I haven't even asked you the first questions, but we were supposed to talk about this later, but like, let's talk about, like, what is advice you have for people starting out in this, and pretty much exactly that, like, setting yourself up for financial stability so you can take care of yourself and also prioritize, like, what is advice you have for people, like, just the base level, get these 3 things done first?
Okay. If you are in a place where you are still, like, trying to get education or get a degree in acting, writing, TV, blah, blah, whatever, music.
Yeah.
I encourage the state school as your undergrad, because unless you have a ton of money, you don't want to spend all of your money on tuition, because there's always going to be I call them brush up classes. Like, remember Growing Studio when they were here in New York?
Oh yeah.
They were, to me, they're brush up classes. You get in front of, whoever and sing and get your feedback, and, maybe it turns into something, maybe it doesn't, but it's one of those things where, like, that's still a necessary class, because you're not singing for casting directors from 20 years ago with your selection from Carousel. You're singing for who casts today and tomorrow shows. So you need to remember that whether you're going into songwriting, acting, any of it, you're always going to have to be in either an acting class or a music class or a composition, just some type of continued education, voice lessons, right? Yeah. So I would rather, if I were talking to younger me, you know, I'm not an academic person, but if I were talking to me, I would be like, junior college and state schools are your best friends to get through your undergrad. And you might want to either double major or add a minor to that, because the type of things we're going into, they don't have a return on investment ever, or they do, but it's like delayed. Or just gonna really put it out there, the return on investment is something that you're still paying for anyway. Like,
yep,
you're still paying for it. Like, even if I book that role in an opera, I still have to pay for extra coaching sessions out of my own pocket that the company is not going to provide. And so if my coach is $75 an hour and I need like 9 hours of rehearsal, I really shouldn't have gone to Carnegie Mellon, should I? You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not saying that's a bad school. I'm saying like San Francisco State or something that is a CUNY type school, you're going to get the same degree that somebody spending $110,000 a year is doing. And if you know what I mean? And so if I were you, it's about the bigger picture and knowing that the industry changes like crazy. When you and I were in college, we didn't have Spotify. We didn't have a whole bunch of stuff. I was going on existing lore that I knew, which is Bette Midler's story, which is sing in enough small rooms, get the gay men dancing on the tables, RCA will attend to find out what the fuss is.
Yes.
Now, what that has changed to is build your own community, build your own fan base. Fan mining is a big thing. And I am so like, oh, please like me. So I'm really bad at it. But it's like, you know, fan mining is a reality. Like, I just got one the other day from a really great musical artist who I love. And I understood why he was sending it to me. It's not because he's desperate or sad or anything. It's because he needs the likes and engagements so that he can go to some type of like label or whatever his pursuit is to be like, look, this is how many people like my stuff.
Yeah.
Back in the 70s, it was, this lady's been selling out this club for 6 months straight. Let's go see what the thing's all about, you know? And that's not what it is now. Now it's
followers and likes.
Right. And even like, I don't care, right? Like, I'm not the type of person that needs like to be adored in that way or to be like followed. I don't want people waking up going, I have to check Carly's thing. Like, that scares the crap out of me.
Well, just like them bowing down in front of you.
Yeah, but at least there's cops nearby there. But yeah, like, I want to just say, look, if you have all the money in the world, if you've got like a Taylor Swift situation where you have the money to do everything, go to Juilliard, go to wherever you're going to go and pay that money. But if you're like, okay, find out, first of all, how much your promotions are going to cost.
Yeah.
Find out how, like, if I'm going to do Cabaret, what are the promotions related to Cabaret? If I'm going to do my own musical, my own big ass show, find out how much promotions are going to cost.
Yeah.
If you are releasing 1 song, 3 songs, 5 songs, an album, find out how much promotions are going to cost. And that is, it just involves, like, I've taken a couple seminars over the last few weeks alone just to find out how much stuff's going for now. And then whenever you hear that, oh, if you have to pay for it, it must be a scam. Well, then you're never going to get anywhere, unfortunately, because
you got to pay for gas. You got to pay for gas. Like,
exactly.
Maybe they are scams.
Right.
But like,
so that's the thing I was going to say. Like where you can cut costs and still get the same results is what you want to do. And so I hate that I'm saying this because I'm a voice teacher, so I'm stubbing myself in the toe. But my friend Michael, you know, Tilly, great drag queen, actually has a really good voice. And, you know, like voice lessons are really expensive, especially if you're doing them weekly or bi-weekly. So he found a terrific online seminar that's free. You know, you can watch it as many times as you want. Figure out how, and his voice is improved because he does all the exercises every day. And it's like, of course I don't want to take that hourly fee away from someone like myself, but we also have to stand on our own business. So if you're like, okay, I have $25,000 and I need to do this, that, and the other with it, you know, maybe that looks like I take 2 junior college courses, 1 acting class, and then release my 1 song. Releasing a song, depending on the genre, like if you're just building tracks, it's going to be cheaper because you're not hiring session musicians, right? Yeah. So if there's a song that you've written that you can pay somebody an hourly to build a track, and you can release that song with the track, you don't have to worry about getting the band parts until you have a band. Right? So, you know what I mean? So it's like, if you're like, oh God, I really need to release the song, but I can't afford, you know, 7 players. Well, my producer, Leo, has an hourly rate and can bang out a track for you in an afternoon.
Yeah.
And you're going to pay the amount of 1 horn player gig fee versus 4, right? Yeah. So it's that's how you have to think about it. If I need my headshots, that means I can't release a song this month. Right? So, and if you can, good on you. Like, good for you.
Do what you can. And also really set aside the fact, like really also not looking at the promotion stuff, like also build a budget that includes like in all that, like how much do headshots cost? How much does promotion cost? Like you also need to include how much does rent cost? How much do I need for food this month? And then also, and I just want to tie this back to something earlier, is you always take a little bit of what you make in the subway, of what you make as whatever, and you put that away. And that small amount will add up. And I just, because I'm in a place where obviously as I'm transitioning my careers and my focus and how I do all these things, I'm really like, there are so many things that we're not taught in school. We don't, you know, get as what part of this lifestyle is. And it really is, if I could scream to the mountaintops, like take care of future you and set yourself up so that way you don't burn out because you should have made it. You should have done this and that. I should have had 3 national tours by now, at least a Broadway show, all these different things. Like, don't burn out throwing all your money into this because you want to be able, it's the long term. Like I've always said, I'm in this for the long term. And what does the long term look like? And how do we get to the long term? Not just doing whatever, because as I'm finding, I'm like, I'll work until I'm 80. And now I'm like, I'm 42. And I'm like, oh, motherfucker, I can't do these restaurant jobs like I used to. So really set yourself up.
Unexpected health crap pops up all the time. Hello? Case in point. I thought I was going to be a waiter for the rest of my life because I knew that I belonged on a Broadway stage. And I know that you're a waiter until you get on that Broadway stage. Well, when you find out you have 2 different hereditary conditions that you can't stand very long, that changes, right?
Exactly. So, I'm going to actually use this as a loop to get us back into the restaurant part of this.
Yes, can I be a butt? I really have to pee. Can we possibly pause?
Yeah. BRB, okay? I'm going to stop it. I'm going to stop it, but we'll stay in the chat room.
Okay, I'm going to be fast.
And on that note, let's take a break. Clearly, we are having too much fun, and we have so much more to unpack. So let's just put a bookmark in that, and we'll pick up next week. Thank you so much for listening. TUFF SHIFT was created and hosted by Patrick Murtagh. It was recorded on Riverside and distributed with Buzzsprout. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review and maybe a comment or 2. And remember, tough shifts build character, and character is what brings your story to life.